if you run out of biscuits, there's one type of biscuits, probably my favorite one, that is super easy to make and doesn't require any eggs or milk or anything like that. That is might be a little bit harder to get right now. Shortbread only requires 3 ingredients, and the recipe that I'm going to use requires 125 grams of butter. And by the way, just so you know, you can freeze butter. It's actually really easy. Just stuff it in the freezer, and when you need it, you can defrost it. So I always have some butter in the freezer somehow. So something good to know about, you can freeze it and defrost it whenever. You can also, if you don't use that much butter, you can cut it in chunks and just freeze the chunks so that you don't have to defrost the whole pack in one go. 50 grams of castor sugar. Now, if you don't have it, knowing that castor sugar is a little bit finer than regular sugar will do as well. So don't worry if you don't have any. And then 100 grams of plain flour. First thing you're going to do is, I'm going to use the mixer, but you don't have to. You can knead it by hand. It takes a little bit more time, and what I would suggest to do is make sure that the butter is very soft if you do it by hand. So the first thing we're going to put in the mixer is the butter and the sugar. Good. And we're going to mix it all together so that it becomes nice, like a nice paste. It doesn't take very long. It's going to be a nice paste, and let's see. There you go. So creamy paste, nice. Didn't take very long. And then we're going to add the flour to the mixture. We're only going to pulse it. Okay, now I don't have the top here, so hopefully we won't get flour everywhere. Because what you want to still have is a little bit of like crumbly stuff. And that should do. That's it, really. So let's have a quick look. As you can see, it's still a little bit crumbly, which is what we want. So I'm going to take the blade away. We don't want to cut our fingers. That's the last thing you want to do. I did that once before. Put that for the wash. And then we're going to take the whole thing, and we're going to knead it a little bit. So let's make a little bit of space. We're going to knead it, ideally, let's put that in another pot without a hole in the middle. It will be much easier. There we go. Sure you take everything out of the mixer, and that's where, to be honest, making it by hand sometimes is a bit easier. Just needs a little bit more work by hand. And the important thing once you add the flour is not to work it too much so that it doesn't become a massive paste thing. So we're just going to knead it a little bit. You still want it to be crumbly, but you want it to be together enough so that you can roll it out onto a surface. Because obviously we want to cut bits, and we want to make it in biscuit shape. Now, biscuit shape you can do with shortbreads, you can do lots of things. You can just leave them as fingers. You can use cookie cutters, whichever you want, any shape. anything goes really. If you look at the shortbread biscuits that you have in the supermarkets, some are, you know, big round and in triangles. Some are, I've seen some dot-shaped ones. You can do whatever you want. Anything will go. I think that's kind of okay. It's still quite crumbly. It's not one, as you can see, but that will do to roll it out and make a nice biscuit. So let's take it, roll it out. I'll just move the camera so you can see everything. So I've put a little bit of flour on the work surface, and I'm going to take my my dough out. Let's put that down. Let's just knead it nicely one more time together, and then we're going to start rolling it out. Now you can roll it out with a rolling pin, or you can roll it out with your hands if you don't have a rolling pin. All is good. There's no right or wrong. I'm going to use a little bit of a rolling pin, and you'll see it's going to be a little bit crumbly. Again, that's perfectly fine. So that's probably why my rolling pin isn't very good. So I'm going to leave that on the side. That's probably why I'm going to use my hands as opposed to the rolling pin. Now what you want to get to is something of a size of, I'm going to do fingers. So I want to have about 1 centimeter fingers. See what it makes. Something about like that. Just knead it once more together so that it crumbles maybe a little bit less. There we go. Should be a bit better now. The important thing once you've made your shape is to let the dough chill. That's kind of going to be the important thing, because otherwise the butter, once it gets in the oven, is going to melt straight away. So it's really important to let the dough chill before putting it in the oven. So we kneaded it a little bit more. As I said, I want to make fingers today as opposed to shapes, but anything will go. There's no right or wrong. You're going to feel it's quite fatty because of the butter, obviously. That's what's nice with shortbread, is the buttery flavour. I have a tin with some non-stick paper in it, and that's what I'm going to put the biscuits on before they go in the fridge. So I'm going to take a knife, just cut fingers. We're going to use the stuff that we're cutting off. I want to make some nice fingers, about that size approximately, and I'm going to halve them as well, only because then we can have some small biscuits with lots of, you know, flavour. Let's show you approximately the thickness of the fingers. They're about 1 centimeter. Some might be all right on the edges, so keep cutting. And again, whatever doesn't fit that size, we're just going to take that together again at the end. In the meantime, we're going to continue and cut our fingers. Let's see how many come out of this batch. It will be interesting. I'm not sure. They're probably a little bit thicker than what the recipe says, but to be honest, I don't like super fine shortbread, because otherwise it's not very tasty, and when you dunk it in your tea, then suddenly it totally disappears. So it is important though to try and have them approximately all at the same size, only because when you bake them, then you know they're going to be ready approximately at the same time. There we go, that's another one. And then you can make them finer if you want. I'm going to take that together. We're going to roll it out again. And you'll continue until you have all your biscuits ready. There's one more. Another one here. And you're probably gonna get another one out of here as well. So all in all, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 biscuits. Some are a little bit thicker than others. Could have probably made them a little bit thinner, especially this one. Let's mix it together. Again, the thinner you make them, the quicker they'll bake. Obviously you'll have to look out for them, see what comes out. There we go, let's see that big one as well. There's a few that are a bit thicker, so I'm going to take them out again and roll it out. And now the dough is super soft now because I've been working it with my hands quite a lot. So that's why it absolutely needs chilling, otherwise it's just going to melt way too easily in the oven and it's not going to be very nice. So what we're going to do now with those biscuits, nearly there. As you can see, you can play as much as you want with it until you got the right shape. As I said, any shape will do. Probably going to get one more biscuit out of this, maybe a few bits. It's a thin one compared to others, so we're going to make it a little bit thicker by mixing it with some more dough. As you can see, not, it doesn't have to be home baked biscuits don't have to be totally square, rectangular or anything like that. So we got a little bit left. I'm just going to make a little square, and that's probably going to be the first one that I'm going to taste. Let's just make space for that one. Now the next thing we're going to do, so as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and a bit biscuits in there. There's no need for any oil, there's enough butter, and this paper is really good. It's kind of ripped paper, so nothing sticks on it really. So, I'm going to take a fork, and as you know, biscuits generally have little holes in it, so we're going to make those holes. There we go. Oops, that wasn't very in the middle. As you can see, it doesn't really stick. And once we've done that, we're going to add a little bit more sugar at the top, just to give that little sugary thing when we eat them. I'm going to make that a little bit thinner and longer. There we go. Don't have to put the oven on yet, because those biscuits are going in the fridge first to chill. There we go. I'll do 4 or 5 depending on the size of the biscuits. As I said, they're not massively even in here. And then we're going to take a little bit of sugar. I'm going to take some in my hand, a bit more caster sugar, and through the fingers you're going to allow it on the biscuits. Every biscuit will get a little bit of sugar. It's not masses, as you've seen, it's a handful, not even. There we go. So most biscuits will have a little bit of sugar. Done. It's going to go in the fridge for about 15 minutes. And I'll see you all again in 15 minutes. So the oven is on. I put the oven on at 190 degrees, nearly hot. I did forget to turn it on while the door was in the fridge. So the door is probably in the fridge for about 20 minutes now. Now the reason why it needs to chill is because if you put the biscuits in the oven straight away without chilling them, because you've been massaging and managing and activating the dough as such, the biscuits are going to lose shape because the butter is too there you go, the butter is too soft and warm, and so it spreads out. So it's very, very important to not miss the chilling bit. So biscuits are here, came out of the fridge, just put them straight in the oven, 190 degrees, about 15-20 minutes. Now because my biscuits are probably a little bit thicker than the ones that were in the recipe, it's most probably going to be towards the 20 minutes as opposed to the 15. So see you back in about 15-20 minutes and show you the results. See you in a bit. So I'm back and the biscuits should be ready. So let's see what happens. Let's open that oven without getting all hot again. Take the biscuits out and let's see. Let's show you. They're nice and golden, and even though they weren't chilled, a few of them just spread, so that's why it's so important to chill them nicely. Now you would want to take them out of here onto a rack, but I can't find any, so I'm going to use the rack from my let's find from my cooker. Everything can be used if you don't have the right tools, so don't get burned. Just take the paper and just take the biscuits out and let's pull them on here. Kind of works. As you can see, they come off nicely. Now don't touch them too much because they're still soft. They need to harden now, and then they'll be perfect biscuits. Enjoy. So there we go. Shortbread biscuits. Lovely, nice, tasty, and that will be yummy in my cup of tea. Enjoy.